And Japanese umeboshi, if you don't know what they are small pickled plum. One person in a comment before it got deleted said you can hear me say that over and over again. Said they're not plums, but they're Japanese fruit that resemble plums, and I'm not sure on that. But basically, they're preserved in sauces, and they're eaten by themselves or they're eaten with rice or other Japanese dishes. They're very tart and sour. If you haven't had umeboshi before, they're great. For me, there's different levels to umeboshi. Like I wouldn't say dirty bento, but like a cheap bento or a reasonably priced bento would have umeboshi, like a small one, but it's kind of like hard and I don't know. I don't even know if it's umeboshi actually, because it's kind of hard. It's really hard. I don't know. I've never asked a Japanese person, "Is this actually umeboshi?" It might be another cheaper Japanese fruit that's just been preserved, but it's kind of crunchy. That isn't as good as like soft umeboshi. Like for me, the softer it is, I guess the longer it's been preserved, and that's when you get it just like melts in your mouth. It's just like bleh, you know, with rice or whatever side dishes you're having. It is really really delicious. So I was just talking about that for a few minutes, and if you can buy like whole things of umeboshi actually too, and I would recommend you do that if you're a rice lover. You come to Japan, or even if you're moving here, and if you like tart foods, which I do, and pomegranate is my favorite fruit. Get you. I mean, not a huge pack because powering through like a huge pack of umeboshi is pretty hard, but like like a simple side dishes plus some what you call it rice and maybe two umeboshi depending on how big they are is a great meal in Japan. It's great. It's really affordable. And I was saying before, like I remember when I first came here and I started eating umeboshi. I was like, oh, this is really really good. And I went. I think one of the first times I went on a cherry blossom trip with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. She we were on this mountain and there were like it was like a ume tree, like a Japanese plum tree. And one was on the ground. I was like, ooh, ume. Like, and I was about to eat it. And she, like, basically slapped it out of my hand. I was like, don't do that. It'll kill you. I was like, what? So, apparently, I don't know if it's an urban legend or how true it is, but ume are supposed to be poisonous. Probably not poisonous, maybe carcinogenic, if you will. It might be an urban legend. One person in the comments said you have to eat a ton of them to do it, but you know how these things are, especially with like Japanese culture or ancient Japan. One person probably ate 1,000,000 of them, died, and then it just spread that they're poisonous unless they're well preserved. So yeah, I have no idea what the unpreserved fruit, I'll call it, tastes like, but umeboshi is good. Umeboshi is good. I mean, they do have umeboshi flavored snacks. I don't like those because it's not real umeboshi. It's just like chemicals masquerading as real fruit. so, so I'm always like, whenever I eat them, I'm like, yeah, this tastes like the real thing, but this is probably poison. It's probably got 1,000,000 chemicals in it or something like that. So I try to stay away from those and just like the real thing. But anything ume flavored is good. There's also umeshu, which is Japanese plum wine. Is made in different ways. Umeshu is more popular with women. Yeah, for a guy, it's kind of like a girly drink because it's kind of sweet, but yeah, it is not as strong in the alcohol department. But some people do as a hobby make their own umeshu, and so they'll just have someone like just with a big. If you walk into somebody's house and there's just like this big container with a bunch of like Japanese plums sitting there, they're like, "Oh, I'm making umeshu," and they'll just let it sit there for like the summer, basically for a couple months and ferment until they're ready to drink it, and then like siphon it off, at their leisure. So don't be surprised if you see that, and if someone offers you some, if you're a drinker. Definitely do oblige depending on their skills or how long it's been fermented. The taste does vary. I've tasted a wide range. Some where I'm like, oh, that's really nice, and some where I'm like, can't have some water, you know. So yeah, it really depends. But